Hey guys, was talking, with some friends, and the usual conversation comes up of joke around, playing around, and life stuff. And people run into this a lot with the saying that nice guys finish last. I don't really believe that to be true. Nice men finish last, and that's not a bad thing. There's different things, different areas of your life that you want to finish in different spots. Usually a nice man, they have their stuff together enough that they're succeeding in all their things and all their personal stuff, to when it comes to interacting with others, finishing last, it's not always a bad thing. Nice guys, on the other hand, they finish solo. When you are constantly trying to get approval of other people, when you are constantly trying to, putting your finger in the air to see which direction the wind's blowing or which mood's in the air of the people around you, that's a miserable way to be, because you're constantly anxiety ridden. You're constantly worrying that you're not enough. You're constantly in that state of, oh hell, how do I have to act today to get the things that I need in life? And that comes from a lack of self-love. It comes from a lack of security and self-value. And I've been on both sides of this wall. It's awful. It is absolutely awful. But at the same time, being on a different side where you're looking at things in a different perspective, you should never change who you are. You should always be yourself. Me, I am a genuinely nice person. I go out of my way for anyone. I would literally give them the shirt off my back to someone if they needed it more than I did. Louis C.K. had that great line, you should never look in your neighbor's bowl to see if they have more than you. The only reason you should ever look over there in their bowl is to make sure that they have enough. Life isn't always fair. Life isn't easy in any way, shape, or form. And, they say that love is the most powerful thing on earth, but that's true, but self-love is the most important, because how can you love anyone else if you don't love yourself? How can you fill anyone else's cup if your cup is empty? So, those are very relevant things to pay attention to. But, back to the main point, when it comes to being nice as a guy, as a man, what defines you as a man isn't, your stature, your career, how much money you have. What defines you as a man is the person that you are, the way that you interact with others, the way that you carry yourself and love yourself, the way you handle your shit. I've had some pretty big learning curves as an adult, and even over the past couple of years, and it's really hurt me. It's stunted my growth for a long time, and it hurt the people that I cared about the most. And I recognized that, and I started making the changes that I needed to for myself. And once I started doing things for myself, instead of trying to absorb everybody's energy and information and trying to turn it into my own conglomeration of how I can please people, once I stopped doing that and started realizing, okay, this is what you want, this is what you need, and this is what you have to do as a man, things have dramatically improved for me. Does that mean that all the wrongs in my life have been fixed? Not in any way, shape, or form. Does that mean I've got all my shit solid together? No. But every day, incrementally, it gets better. And when I hit the goals, when I hit the place where I want to be, I'm going to set a new place where I want to be. That's how you stand up. That's how you do things differently. Love is a powerful thing, but so is dignity. And there's a difference between pride and dignity and ego. Ego tells us that we have to be better than everyone around us. Pride and dignity, it doesn't give a shit. You're proud of yourself. You're proud that you're better than you were yesterday. Not everybody's gonna like that, not everybody's gonna agree with that. But that's not everybody else's life to live. Once you've mastered yourself, once you have kind of got yourself in a position where you know who you are and what your purpose is, and you follow through with those things, that is when you can start applying those things to your other parts of your life. Friendships, relationships, all of that should always be kind. In my perspective, you should always be kind to everyone around you. If someone is being shitty to you, you don't have to be mean. Just end the situation. That doesn't mean you never talk to somebody again, but that means you step away from it until they're ready to treat you with respect. You know, family is the worst for this, and I've been through this over and over again. And when things turn into yelling matches or into arguments, and it turns into these petty control battles, it's awful. That's not a way of showing love to anybody. You know, I have been guilty of making others around me feel less than because I felt less than, and that's not okay. But I recognized it and I did something different. You know, if you know you're doing something wrong and it's not a part of who you are and it's not something you're proud of or want to continue, you've got to be accountable to yourself and admit, okay, this is an issue. This is a problem, something I've got to do about. Something I've got to do something about. And then you make the change and then you move forward. And that means that you don't allow that negative energy into your life anymore. Does it mean that you can't have friends and you can't have family and you can't be in these situations around people that may go through stuff? Because everybody is in a rough spot from time to time. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody goes through things. But that doesn't mean that you have to accept less than your worth from anyone. You know, judging people leads you to constantly worry what everyone else is thinking about you and that everyone else is judging you because you are judging other people. And so what you do is a reflection of what you feel other people do. It's normal. That's what we do. You know, we all fall into this category of thinking that if we do something, that others will do it in return. That's called putting expectations on things. You know, in a lot of things, that's okay, that's acceptable, that's normal. But some things, you just do them to do them. You don't do them with the thought of reciprocation or with the thought that anything should come back to you other than what you allow to come to you. You know, I have lived a long time, not necessarily in a state of entitlement. I guess just some usages of that word, you could call that true. You know, I work hard, but you know, up until a little while ago, not that long ago, I was still making really irresponsible decisions. I wasn't listening to what I was told, to the people that cared and were trying to help me. And I was able to see the reaction from that. I was able to see the negative effects it was having on my life. And that's when I applied this is what I want and this is what I need for me and my own. And that's when change started to happen. And I tell you what, it's a freeing feeling. When you know you're doing things the way you want to do them, it doesn't matter what anyone else has to say. Other people's thoughts and opinions are just that, their thoughts and opinions. And they should never dictate you. You know, making big changes in your life isn't always going to make things happen the way you want them to. Everything's going to work out how it's supposed to. Everything's going to work out, you know, in coordinates. It's going to run parallel to the things that you do. And when things don't go exactly how you want them to, your reaction is really going to change things. You know, people aren't always going to like when you stand up for yourself. People aren't always going to like when you do what you need to do as opposed to what everyone else thinks you need to do. You know, you're never going to please everybody. You're never going to be as far along as people want you to be. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't work towards it. It doesn't mean you shouldn't accept constructive criticism or conversation or people looking out for you. But don't put up with anybody telling you that you're not good enough. It doesn't matter who they are. If anybody wants to walk out of your life, friends, family, a relationship, it doesn't matter. If somebody wants to walk out of your life, hold the freaking door open for them. Wish them well and send them love as often as you can. Because they need it. That doesn't mean you stop caring about someone just because you've decided to allow things to go as they want them to. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. You know, that just means that's a decision they're making and you've got to help them reinforce it. You've got to give people what they ask for. You know, I have been guilty of assuming what people need assuming what people mean when they say things to me, when they talk, or when they try to communicate. And that doesn't work out very well. Most of the time, if you listen to what somebody's telling you and you apply it, or you tell somebody something and they apply it, things go well. Sometimes we don't mean what we say. Sometimes we don't know what we're feeling or thinking, or, you know, that's just life. That's normal. We don't know how things are going to end. We don't know what the big picture is all the time. The only thing we can control is ourselves and our decisions and our reactions. So being kind to someone doesn't mean that you need to be a pushover. Because honestly, especially from a guy's perspective, if you're a man and you back down on everything, you don't handle your shit, you don't do the things you're supposed to, if you're not a man and stand up for what you believe in and have your own purpose and your own goals, that doesn't mean be an asshole. That doesn't mean be a narcissistic douchebag that just uses people and manipulates situations. If you are a man, a solid man, then things are going to go fine. But if you are constantly laying down, constantly apologizing, it doesn't matter if you have the best woman in the world, the most loyal, respectful woman in the world, she will lose respect for you, and she will start treating you in a manner that she has no respect for you, and you can't get upset because you are the one that acted in those ways that caused that. And I tell you what, when you make that first shift to finally decide to get a spine, to let your nuts drop and do something, you got to find balance, because you're going to come off like an arrogant asshole because you're not used to it. You're not recognize those things. But you've got to find that balance into how to be convicted without being a douche. And that's where things change. Treat people how you want to be treated, but don't expect a damn thing from the world. It doesn't owe you anything. I think I've made my point on that. Kind of went off on a little tangent, added a lot of stuff, but that's just how I am. So I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day. Thanks for listening. Take care.